Oops. Okay, good evening, guys. Welcome to our sixth session for this evening. Our topic for this evening is about other operating systems. So for other operating systems, so if you're fed up with Windows, Linux, or Mac OS, you'll want to know if there's a great alternative desktop operating systems that worth using. So while there are no absolute definitive answers here, everyone's use case is different. After all, we've discovered 10 distinct examples that fall outside the usual bounds. So our list even includes few true outsiders, independent operating systems and are built from ground up, which serves mainly to prove just how difficult it is to create the entire functioning OS without a large number of brains working on it. So everybody here can be tested reasonably within the virtual machine. So if something grabs your interest, don't hesitate to download and give it a try. Okay, our reference for this evening is from techradar.com. So you may best alternative operating systems or 10 best alternatives operating systems other than Windows or Linux. So first things first, students. Our objective for this evening is to discuss the importance of an operating system as a platform, to value the importance of an operating system as a platform, and understand the basic concepts and structures of an operating system to be used as a platform. So first of all, we have ArcaOS. ArcaOS is an operating system based on the last IBM release for OS/2. And while OS/2 barely survives the legacy system, even after being extended for a while as an e-com station, ArcaOS is still a very actively developed with Spanish and German language extension. So this ArcaOS is 32-bit, but runs on x86 processor architecture, so should be compatible with particularly old PCs or old computers. So if you want to download ArcaOS, you go to www.arcanoae.com/ArcaOS. Okay, second on the list is Haiku. So Haiku is actually a diverse operating system from Linux, but it actually came from BOS. So it is built from ground up, but designed to be backward compatible with its classic query. Haiku follow BOS lead in entirely modular design, allowing different components of OS to be developed concurrently. It's been a while since the OS has been stable release. If you want to download Haiku OS, you go to http://www.haiku-os.org. Okay, next will be ReactOS. For ReactOS, it's clearly bit behind other kind of operating system, but ReactOS does have its uses. Incorporating parts of the noted Windows emulator Wine, it runs LibreOffice, Firefox, and Opera, and most quite happily, and can even manage some earlier versions of the popular applications like Adobe Photoshop. And ReactOS now natively supports file systems than all Windows version combined. So if you want to have really a light Windows type operating system, do pareho ka Windows ang interface, so you try ReactOS. I think ReactOS has a positive reviews. Nga daw pareho siya ka Windows ang tsura. So if you want a Windows-like operating system, you choose ReactOS. To download ReactOS, go to http://reactos.org. Okay, next in line will be FreeDOS. So for FreeDOS, this is like, as the name suggests, it came from MS-DOS, pero that theoretical software may run MS-DOS, but it will run as happily on FreeDOS shell. Pero ang shell na is different from MS-DOS. As the name suggests, it is fully compatible but completely free and open source remake of DOS or disk operating system from Windows. Ang DOS halin sa Windows. Pero siya FreeDOS, it's open source DOS and can handle just about everything its proprietary counterpart can. So that, of course, means no multitasking, no protected mode, no GUI, puro programming daya, puro code. And it run on your games and even manage Windows 3.1 as long as you're running it in a standard mode. So this is just a clone of your MS-DOS. If you want to be specializing on DOS applications, pwede nyo dyan gamiton. To download, just go to http://www.freedos.org. So next in line is WayneOS. WayneOS is medyo advanced lang siya gamay sa naton sa ibang ginambal nga operating system sa babaw kay ina. WayneOS come from Korean startup that forked the open source Chromium. So sa Chromium siya sa Chrome OS. So create an OS for regular 64-bit machine instead of Chromebooks. So originally, Chrome OS, the project changed its name to WayneOS in 2019. So instead of a traditional installation, the distro is designed to be installed in a bootable USB flash drives. WayneOS is available in two versions, free and paid. The free version is meant for all kinds of end users. To install it, simply download its compressed installer and then extract the executable installer from the archive and fire it up. So this will bring up the WayneOS installer. So select the version that you want to install, point to the installer to the USB disk that you want to install on it. So wait for the installer to download and copy the necessary files to the USB disk. So when it is done, you can now run your 64-bit WayneOS. So to download WayneOS, go to the http www.wayneinc.com. Okay, so another is FuryBSD. For FuryBSD, while Linux is the recreation of Unix, FreeBSD is more of a continuation. So sa Unix siya halin. So it was initially developed by students working with the Research Unix source license obtained by University of California, Berkeley, and BSD beat standard for Berkeley software. So it is a trademark and licensing gremlin. So the OS run its own kernel and all of its key components has been developed as part of the single whole. Ang Linux na, just the kernel, the rest of it is supplied by third party, but so it lacks BSD's overall coherency. While FreeBSD is a highly complete and very reliable operating system, it doesn't come with a graphical user interface by default. So kinahanglan installan nyo gid siya ka GUI pattern. So this is free. If you want to download, I suggest if you want to test this, even in virtual machine, guys, I think kinahanglan sa computer gid. Kay Unix application siya, kung sa laptop siguro or depende man kung ang specs ka laptop ninyo kaya na siya i-run. So if you want to download this, you go to http://www.FuryBSD.org. I think okay, so next in line will be OpenIndiana. For OpenIndiana, this is an alternative for Windows and Linux. So OpenIndiana is owned by Sun Microsystems, no? Or ang naton karang una nga Solaris. For this one, guys, nangita ako ka Solaris nga OS na pwede ninyo i-testingan or Open Solaris bala. Pero ang tawag nila doon kadaya is OpenIndiana doon. So if you're familiar with ang aton VirtualBox, it is also owned by Sun Microsystems, and the same thing with OpenIndiana. So this project is pareho sanda ang owner na naghalin ang sa Sun Microsystems. Pareho kay inyo nga dang VirtualBox. Okay. So they decided to make this because they wanted to have a familiar app on their desktop, no? And it uses the Mate desktop along with its cache of tools, as well as handful of mainstream productivity applications such as Firefox, Thunderbird, and Pidgin. Well, there is not much to write about this. I don't know, but the user interface is much more like a Linux-based application. Pero may dyan sandang open source ng mga applications sa OpenIndiana. Next in line will be NextOS is used by most universities, no? It's called ColibriOS. If you have an open source application and you wanted to have researches and you try Colibri because you can install this on old computers na pwede nga sa library, no, na pwede natin ma-install. So for Colibri naman, guys, it is written in a FastM assembly language and based on the source code of Minuet OS operating system. Minuet spelled MENUET. So it supports FAT and NTFS. So it means if it did support FAT and NTFS, FAT is file allocation table, and new NTFS is new technology file system. It means to say that it is similar to Windows. Okay, so because it supports FAT and NTFS. So Colibri, I think this is compatible with Windows, and on the desktop is fairly intuitive to operate, and new users aren't reprimanded for casual exploring the desktop and its various applications. The only shortcoming of the OS is that its productivity apps aren't really mature enough for everyday use. Pero I think you can use several applications that is being useful. So like for example, ang makita ninyo sa Ubuntu ng file systems. If you want to download Colibri, you go to www.colibrios.org/en. Okay, next will be Visopsys. So ang sure niya is Visopsys is somewhat similar to your Linux man, pero pwede siya sa Windows. So for Visopsys, the goal of the OS is to create a fully functional operating system for students and enthusiasts. So the OS boots in a snap and give you the option to either launch the installer or boot into a live session. So the desktop is fairly simple to navigate and includes a handful of essential applications plus handy administration and configuration utilities. So Visopsys is a regular desktop, but it really is a capable CS project and should be treated as such. So if you want a very good alternative for Windows, kinanglan niyo mga projects ninyo, guys, you go to www.visopsys.org. So next will be Icarus. I think this is the last, no? If I'm not mistaken. For Icarus, this open source operating system is a distribution of Aeros, which is a OS based on Amiga OS API. So halin siya sa Amiga OS. It is important to note that this is not a clone of Amiga OS, but an implementation of a new API. So separate na siya nga operating system nga ginhimo lang based sa Amiga OS. If you're not familiar with Amiga OS, I think kung nagagamit sa naka-Linux yung Unix karang una, this is one of the most popular alternative for other versions ka Linuxes, ang Amiga OS. So unless you're familiar with Amiga OS, you'll have pretty tough time getting to grips with Icarus. Sa Icarus, guys, pero ang nagid na similar is ang naka-Mac OS. Kainsa, may mga dock siya. Instead of the menu on the bottom, makita ninyo sa dalom niya may mga dock siya. which is ang macOS ang nag-invento kadaya. So Icarus has pretty decent hardware support, and kung gusto nyo magampang ka mga retro games, mga hampang karang una, mga Battle City, Mario, kag iban pa, you download ang Icarus OS. So if you want to download Icarus OS, you go to vmwaros.blogspot.com. vmwaros.blogspot.com. Pwede ninyo ito yung ma-download ang Icarus OS. Okay? So for your activity for this week, you're going to choose among the 10, and the same thing with Windows kag ang Linux. You're going to install you use virtual machine to install, and then use virtual machine and then install one of the following other operating systems. So I think that is it, students, for this evening. Gulpi lang nagduro sa polo. Okay. So good evening sa tanan. I think that is all. I have given you 10 choices of operating systems na pwede ninyo magamit. And then I think, guys, that those are for free. Now, just a reminder, just like your Windows and Linux activity. So if you want to download the ISO file, please choose the 32-bit sa mga Windows 7 nga applications. Other than that, kung ang 64-bit ang imong pwede siya. One of the suggestions also is to delete ang pang-install, so that nga hindi siya bugat gid katama. So you can choose among the 10 operating systems that we made mention kagina, and that is for free, man, guys. You can download it for free. So ArcaOS, Haiku, ReactOS. I think Haiku is a good choice. So why don't you choose Haiku? Kay gamay lang siya, mamagaan. Okay. If you want to if you don't want to download, I can download it, man, later, one of these, and then I'll give it to you. Wala gali, guys, may nag-claim katong Zorin Linux. May idea ka na kon. I don't know kung tapos do ka mo. Pero ang Linux nato ng activity bala, naghulat man ko pay man may nag-claim ka Zorin. Diya pala di ka na kon ang Zorin nga Linux na pa. So okay lang man. Some of you have already finished your activity, so it's okay. Some choose Ubuntu, or some choose Mint, Linux Mint, and some choose other versions of Linuxes. For tonight, I think you can choose any of the 10. Pilian nyo lang gid, guys, ang mamagaan. Ay sometimes ang installer nga kung mag-run siya actually mga tag 1 point something gig, medyo hanggo gawa kag mabuhay mag-install. So suggestion ko, ang pinakamagaan lang ang ang i-download kag kay karang una, I think ang one of the recommendations siguro, guys, that I can give you actually is the Haiku. Kay karang una nakakita do ko ka installation ka Haiku nga dang magaan nami siya install kag user friendly. That is one of the user friendliest nga pa. I don't know of other. Ang isa ka one good version pagid is the FreeDOS. And I think just because nga sa DOS siya, mamagaan ang DOS abi, guys. And I think ReactOS, ay medyo ako ka ReactOS, no? Ang curious kay ang ReactOS daya, guys, duroy gagamit kadaya kadang ReactOS nga da. Actually, it's alternative from Ubuntu. Kung hindi ka mo gusto ka Ubuntu or Linux nga ReactOS ang gina-install. So I think mayad ang review ka ReactOS, and that is also one of the best operating systems nga I can recommend nga pwede ninyo testingan kay because doon nami ang reviews niya. Duro ang nabasahan ko nga forum kag nga manami siya gamiton. And it contains also free softwares. Kung ma-install nyo na siya, or ang live demo lang ang para nyo kung hindi ka gusto nga install nyo gid sa VMware ninyo. Kung live demo lang, at least you can produce a screenshot man sa sa pagpara ninyo. One thing gali sa Linux ninyo guys, I think ang na-observe ko lang bala last week sa activity, wala ako may nakita nga VMware or VirtualBox sa background. So base ginsuspetsahan ko base bala gin-download nyo lang to sa internet, screenshot nga gintaon nyo kanapon. So please don't do that. Manan ko man abi kung gintudtuod nyo siya download or gin-copy nyo lang.
Sir,
yes.
gin-hide ko abi desktop background ko, sir.
Ha?
Gin-hide ko yung desktop background ko.
Again, hide mo siya ang desktop background mo sa dang virtual machine.
Oh, sir, kaya hindi makita kasi din naka-desktop man siya pero gin-hide ko lang abi desktop background.
Oo. Medyo nagduda ako. Hindi ko makita yung virtual machine ninyo. So, muda. Pero it's okay na nano ko naman to, di ba, na balik ko doon kaninyo. Nag-redundant ka mo last time. So, white problema. Oo. At least, take endeavor ninyo yadang ninyo ka operating system. Pag-install ninyo ka Linux, So, amo mo lang yung mga points, guys, mga observations ko. Akon mo lang data ng observation. It's okay if important thing is you pass the activity. And mind you, one of your classmates nga karang una nga uragin special mention kay Jefferson. Si Jefferson kada semana gapasa gid ka activity na. So padayon na lang to. Pag gid na approve. Ang obserbaran ko si Jefferson sa dang subject naton nga daya halin karang ika-una nga session until 6. Very good, nagapasa gin siya every week ka activity. I'm sorry guys, I thought si James Tom lang kay inaya masulod dia. I never expected nga kagina after ko ka lecture diyan do kamo. Pero thank you gid hay kamo do karon nga gabi. Gina-expect ko man abi ay Holy Week daan tapos Thursday. I'm sorry. Pigaring guys kay kinahanglan nato gidaya nga nay kun hindi mabuinan kita duman iti sinemana. I think 3 weeks do lang nabilin ata kag midterm duman kita pagkatapos. So just prepare lang gid and amo daya naga-sacrifice man ko gani ka time ko kag iban pa just to see you this evening so that I can give you a hint of what are you going to do at the same time to make sure that you know what you're going to do. But then I know nga naumpisahan nyo duman Monday pa nato jagin just nga gin adjust lang naton ang time naton kay every Thursday na aton nga and then if ever that you have if you're going to still do your activity, at least you can ask question today and then tomorrow will be the passing of the so it's midnight man. Temo da. I hope that klaro man yagin naton actually mga insights lang dato. For the footnote means ang reference nga naton sa activity. I've taken the liberty of researching about that best 10 alternative you can see that on the internet man. Gin base ang balon gin kopya ko lang. Tigin kopya ko gid man. Pero ang ko lang siya kay ang best 10 alternative according daya sa experts sa ang reference naton is from nga magazine dato gani this one techradar.com sa news /news/best alternative operating systems. Okay. And then another footnote that you can do research on this is gadgets.ndtv.com/laptop/features/5 free alternatives to Microsoft Windows. And the last reference that we if you want to research on this is www.howtogeek.com. Alternative PC operating systems you can install. So it can be found on your module. So I think ano lang, copy paste, copy then paste nyo sa URL and then you go to that page. You can see all the articles there. So why is it that I have included it? Because our subject is very new and that's the way lang gid nga I think I can find the best suited lesson for this evening sa other operating systems. Don't worry guys, next chapter or next topics will go away with operating systems. Other platform duman ang ano naton ang i-discuss. So to be particular of what will be the topics that we will be having. So you can consult the syllabus, but I think if I'm not mistaken, the other ano naton is SMS. So sa SMS siguro I will require you to be sending SMS. Pero there's two possibility that I can have for the activity. You just wait and I will not announce anay. You can research on this pero hindi ko lang siya pag-ihambal tulad nga evening. Pero I think we can do that. I'll be requiring you to send SMS from outside or even abroad. Pero you don't have to pay. This is an activity, no? We will use a medium or a platform for this. That's why we need to discuss about SMS. So background there, next meeting, next week, pero amo da SMS ang discussion natin. I think I will have 3 topics about SMS man. And SMS is interesting kay I don't know if there sa umata na SMS gid tanay ginagamit gid. Ay ti ng iPad pero maskin gani nga tuya maka-data ka lang, pwede ka man ka sa Messenger, di ba? So mas madali. Today, I think laka do lang gapa-load ang tao para mag-text. I think it's more, pero I think it's very applicable. That's why if you have a subscription to any telco, don't do away with text messages. Kay importante man gyapon. But if sa nagpanaw ikaw kag na stranded ikaw sa ibang nga lugar nga wala wifi, so useful man gyapon ang SMS. Okay, so I think that's about it for this evening. You may jot down your attendance already on the chat box. Okay, sige. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 11 people for who are present this evening. So thank you so much, guys. After jotting your attendance, you can now leave. Don't forget to pray and pamalandong. And for whatever reason, if you want to go to another places today or tomorrow, not today, not tonight, but tomorrow, you bring along with you your face mask and face shield and your alcohol. Or if you want to stay at home, pray, and sindi ka mo kandila, mga 3 o'clock karuman. Ha? Maski na mo lang gid pamalandong lang gid. Na masindi kandila, kag pangadi, rosaryo or something. If you're not Catholic, you can pray nga diretso lang or whatever. So thank you guys for listening and for attending. Do you have any questions for our activity this week? No more questions. Okay, so let's end this, and good night, and good evening, and take care good. And good evening sa tanan. Sige, thank you. Okay, just in case basahon ko sige, don't forget to jot down your attendance. Kisa lang guys hindi niyo doon pagsulit-suliton nga kadua or isa lang gid ko man gyapon yadang ninyo pangalan sa chat box. Okay, sige. So thank you, and I'll see you next week. Thank you, James. Kaya Gina, ikaw yung pinakauna, kay Ina nagsulod. And kay Kier, kay Cindy, kay SP. Yes, James, do you have something to tell us?
Why, Master?
Sige, ano lang, good night kaninyo, good evening. Pamalandong lang kita. Oo. Tukaron nga Semana Santa. So thank you, Kier. Thank you, Cindy. Thank you, SP. Okay, stop ko ng recording.